And I want to start with something that I have read on the websites about an evolutionist article. And they are still, you know, that looking for the missing link, and that's why they are explaining that they are looking for this missing link, but they couldn't find it because there is not a missing link, a transitional form. And there were some tragic statements about these things on the web, and they were admitting that when you look through with an evolutionist point of view, there's very serious gaps in the fossil records because they couldn't find a transitional form, because there is not a transitional form. And they say that the creationists, it means we are, very obsessively talking about these gaps, that we love these gaps, to talk about these gaps. And yes, that's true. And I just thought about what the obsessive might mean, and I thought that it might be obvious, brave, seeker of truth, educative, the first letters of the obsessive, and speaking without fear, scientific, intelligent, and also victorious and elegant. So it becomes some kind of compliment for us, and thank you for that. And but there are also some serious sayings on the article about this, and they say that as there is no transitional forms, they don't need to look for any kind of fossils. And they say that we are very fortunate to have the fossils, and it is very hard to find fossils, but it is not true. It is very easy to find the fossils, and everywhere is full of fossils. And also, we are, yes, fortunate to have fossils, but there are more than hundreds and millions of fossils. And recently, I remember that there are 600 million fossils have been found, digged out. And so, there are so many fossils. But there are no transitional forms, and this makes them in a very hard situation to think about evolution. And we can look to the Atlas of Creation, as you know, as they say that there are no fossils to find, and it is very hard to find fossils. It is not true. As you can see now, this is the Atlas of Creation, and it is full of fossil pictures, the ones with the amber, the ones with the stones. And you can see the pictures right now, and and you can also see their relatives that live today, the present, the features that the creatures living today, and they are exactly the same. They are not changed, and you can see so much fossils here, and there are 14 volumes more than this book.
And this book is 7 kilo, so you can imagine how hard is it to take it?
Yes, and it is something that full of the pictures of fossils, so it means that it is easy to find fossils, but they are saying something like that because it is not easy to find a transitional form, because there is not. And but in the article, while I was reading more, and I have read something very funny. It was very hard for me to stop laughing some parts, but I have to express it because it is important. And they start to say that, as I said, they start to say that they don't need fossils anymore to prove the creation because they cannot find a fossil, so they should find a way to make people believe in evolution. And they start to tell about a tale. And they turned the scene of the fossil investigations into a detective story. I suppose they're reading so much books or watching so much movies about it. And they say that a detective comes to the crime scene, and then he sees the DNA and blood, and it's very creepy out there, and it sees the guns and everything, and footprints, fingerprints, everything is there. They have the evidence, they say. And the killer, there is a killer because it's a crime scene. The killer is the servant, they say. In the
Why the servant?
I don't know, they have a problem with the servant, I guess. And because also it's expressed that the servant has an evil look in his eyes. It is something like that.
So funny, yes.
Yes, it is creepy, but it's trying to make the people concentrate on the subject.
Not possible, I think. But
Yes, but because they cannot express the true evidence, so they should say something, and it's just something like that. And then in a moment, and the jury is there, and the defense is there, and everyone is there, and the prosecutor starts to express that the servant is guilty and everything like that. And soon someone emerged and says that there are video recordings, and they are assuming that these video recordings are the fossils that have been found. And in the video recordings, they see that the servant takes the gun and disappears in the dark.
The evil look.
Yes, with the evil look in
Evil
his
look.
eyes. It is very important. And the prosecutor is very sure, and the jury is very sure that the servant is guilty, but somehow the defense starts to say that the defense attorney starts to say that, and the defense attorney here is the creationist, it means we are, and they start to say that with the, it is very important, with using the index finger like this, it is written very expressed there, saying that no, in the video records we only see that the servant takes the gun and disappears in the dark, but we don't see that it shoots makes the shooting, do the killing. And then very desperately the prosecutor tries to explain that yes, the servant is the killer. I mean, they have a really problem with the servant. I don't know what about it. Someone has a very serious problem with the servants. And then finally he finishes the story somehow and says that it doesn't mean that there is not a video recording. He is the guilty one, because he says that there is the DNA and also the fingerprints, also the gun and footprints and everything, but they don't have such evidence in the fossil records. It is not true. There is not a crime scene. It is just a fossil investigation. Calm down. It is not the detective investigation. Nobody is murdered. And when you look at the final scene, there is no transitional form fossil. And if they have it, they should show it. They shouldn't tell tales. That's why they are trying to hide behind these stories or tales or things like that, because they have nothing to show. So at last they say that we don't need fossils. How they could run away from the truth? This way.
Thanks God that we don't have such courts today and such a judge system, yes, because it's amazing.
Yes.
Everybody will go to the jail.
Yes, and what happens
without
to
evidence?
Yes, what happens to someone is innocent until the guilty is proven?
Yes.
No, the evil look is enough.
And they say that the proof is some blood, so where do we know whose this blood is? Because you must make some investigation to know, maybe it's animal blood, maybe it's not even blood, maybe the DNA is from another person. You don't know.
Thanks to that there is a defense attorney to talk about it actually, because if there were not, just the evil look is enough to make someone guilty.
Yes.
That's so.
They don't like the look.
Yes, that's it. And they don't like that there is no transitional form also. They're trying to make it compared with something evil. And they're trying to hide the scientific truth. This is actually the serious part, because they are trying to hide it, but we know that there is no transitional form. It is obvious. And at the further parts of the article, there is also something very amazing. They say that they will accept that there is no evolution in one condition. If a fossil...
You are making me curious.
Yeah, actually I was curious while
Scenario is getting more and more excited.
Yes, they say that they will accept that there is no evolution in one condition if they find a fossil of a creature on the layer of the earth that shouldn't be there. Like what? They say that if they find a rabbit that belongs to the Cambrian age, then they will accept that there is no evolution, because it can never be. They accept it.
Whether they...
Yes, I will come back to that. And actually we have showed them amazing fossils.
Yes.
Actually everything, the creatures living today is a miracle by themselves. Because there's nothing coincidence here. There's nothing rain, storm that can make anything like this perfect. We have a perfect order that we live now. And also I have talked about in the previous programs a fossil that they have found in 230 million years old. And I want you to look their pictures now on the screen. And I want to read without comments. I'm reading it without comments. It's very important. The sentences, the statements of the evolutionists, the biologists and people who found these fossils and make explanations about these fossils. First one is the David Grimaldi, the biologist at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City. Also you can see still pictures. These are the gall mites. And when they look at the gall mites today, the fossil and the living relative of this gall mite are exactly dissimilar. And David Grimaldi says that these mites are remarkably similar to the modern gall mites. And he adds that you would think that by going back to the Triassic you'd find a transitional form of golmite, but no. They say that there is not a transitional form. Actually, why they are saying that? At that time, it was the Triassic, not the Jurassic, before the Jurassic. And at that time, there were no flowering plants. And
Yes.
golmites survive with the flowering plants. And they say that there were no flowering plants, so there cannot be golmites. And if there were golmites, they should be more different than their relatives today. Because they should be eating something different. They should be surviving with a different method. But when they look at the fossils, they see something exactly like that. Now you find your rabbit. And that you have mentioned in the article.
Little smaller than the rabbit.
Yes, the rabbit
same
you are
value,
looking,
yes.
same value, the rabbit
Yes.
that you were looking for. And also the David Grimaldi continues that, I'm not adding comment, it's very important here. Even 230 million years old, all of the distinguishing features of this family were there, along, segmented body, only 2 pairs of legs, and usually 4 found, and unique feather claws and mouth parts. And also Dr. Penny, also a researcher, adds that the results presented here skip the Jurassic entirely and go back a further step to the Triassic. This was not expected. Now you have your evidence that
Yes.
this creature couldn't be live according to you at that period, but it is surviving, and it's exactly the same. But actually, I wonder if they have that courage to accept it, because whenever
They don't have.
we hope that they have, inshallah, they will have,
Inshallah.
because when you look at these things, these evidences, with a sincere heart, you should accept it.
Of course.
Because it is obvious, it is serious, it is something in front of you. And inshallah they will understand it, but of course we will see in time.
Yes. Even they are always saying that these fossils are the missing link, missing link, missing link. Even on the police records, if someone is missing for years, then they are closing the file. But we see that for 150 and for more years, they are saying that they are about to find these missing links, but we know that actually they are seeing every day as a hope for them. Every morning they are, I guess that waking up for a morning to say that yes, we found an